Do you think it was simpler back in those old times? And I mean like caveman times, especially like when it come to, you know, like getting together. You're my woman. You're my man. And then, you know, poof. No ceremonies, no nothing, just you're there, you're together. Anyway, that's not quite as far back as I want to go, but just a little something to think about. But how about past times still? Like, I think every area has its stories. My dad and, you know, some other people around here helped to contribute to some of these stories around here. Like back in the 1940s, out on 331 here, where these missionaries, I'm trying to think back to the story, 2 young women, 2 young men, and they were walking, and unfortunately they got hit. But they're probably not ghosts, I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of ghost stories around here. As there are everywhere, right? Let's face it. A place has been around for a while, you're bound to have those kinds of things. If you believe in them, right? And even if you don't. Just saying. Anyway, and there was a really sad story that... and not that that other one wasn't sad, of course, but another story that my dad had told me about a girl that he knew in school that even had gone down to this Paxton school where my son went. And I think her name was Paula. I think my dad said she was like a couple of years older. You know, she's the kind of girl all the guys kind of like, you know, she developed a little earlier. Though I think he said she was like 13, 14. 15 years old, something like that, at the time this happened. And she lived here down the street, on this street, off this street I live on now. And she was staying home. Her parents were out. Her older sister was out, I think working or something. And this happened in the 1950s, early 1950s. And I think her name was Paula, my dad said, too. Just want to put that in there. She was watching the younger kids, siblings, I guess. And her sister's boyfriend came over. And he said, "Where's your sister?" And she said, "She's not here." And she knew where she was, you know, she was, I think she was in Fort Walton or somewhere, I don't remember where she was. And he said, "Could you come and, you know, come to my car and we'll drive on out and you point where she's at." She's not supposed to leave because she's supposed to be babysitting these smaller kids, right? But, you know, I guess she felt like, yeah, it is my sister's boyfriend. She should not have gone, poor girl. Let's just say her parents came home sometime later and they said, "Where's Paula?" Kid said, "Oh, she went off with," and of course they knew who she went off with. It was really stupid of the guy. And evil. And, they couldn't find, you know, even her older sister was alerted. They went to his home. He claimed he had been home all night, of course, I'm sure. And they couldn't find her, you know. I think, no, he didn't claim he was home all night. He claimed that he dropped her off or something. I don't know what he claimed. And they couldn't find her. A guy went deep into the, you know, a hunter or farmer or something. I think it was a farmer who went into the woods and to look for a cow or something. And he found her. She had been raped and murdered. I think she was shot, but not sure. It wasn't too far away from Paxton. Somewhere between, I think, like somewhere on the way to Mossy Head around here. Deep into the woods. And there's a lot of deep into the woods around here. Bigfoot really almost could, you know. There's lots of acres of, they'll at least have black bears. Every once in a while you'll find. Really sad. And that guy, I believe, did get put in jail. I'm sure he got the death penalty at that time in the 1950s. Right, he did get the death penalty because I think he killed himself. It's been a while since my dad told me this story. I think he did kill himself or something. I'm not sure. But it's a sad story. Then there are other stories. Stories like, I think it was back in 1902 or 3, where this couple who, she was maybe 16, 17. She was underage anyway. She ran away with her boyfriend, who wasn't too much older. They wanted to get married. Well, they couldn't marry him, I think, on one side or something, but they decided to marry him on the other side. And this Lake Jackson out here, part of it's in Florala, I think I said that before, Alabama, and part of it's in Paxton, Florida. So they took them out on the lake in the middle of the night in the moonlight. Oh. And they married them. A story they could tell, I'm sure, and sure did. I'm sure they did. Their children, their grandchildren, and I'm sure by now their great-grandchildren, whatever. But I like that story. They got married by moonlight out on the lake. That is a cool story. And then there's another story that also has to pertain by that lake. John Gant. I think it was in the late 1840s, early 1850s, or right at 1850. This guy, this is back when like things were wild out here, you know, bears running loose, Florida panthers were running loose, I'm pretty sure. Native Americans as well. American Indians, how they like to be called today, I believe. A wild place. He owned like a depot for like train, like on, I think like all the way from one part of Alabama into Pensacola. But he mostly stayed in the line of around the Lake Jackson out here. Somewhere around there. And he married a Cawthorn, I think, gal. They were pretty, you know, prestigious at the time. A young woman. And their oldest daughter, maybe, I'm not sure. And he, not only was it a part of the train depot, but it was also a boarding house and the mail post office. But he was kind of known to be, you know, not very good. He probably had some money, but he also did a lot of, supposedly they say, thieving. Supposedly one guy had one time come all the way from Virginia with quite a few horses. Guy disappeared. But you got it, John Gant was found with his horses. And a postmaster, or inspector, excuse me, of the postmaster, also said he was one time, he went there and he checked the peg in this, where they put up the horses. And he saw little parts of like torn up, like $5 bills and stuff. And back in those days, $5 was a lot of money, right? And so he knew there was something up with this guy. I mean, this guy supposedly killed people, you know, or robbed left and right, possibly. So he finally got put in jail in Pensacola, I think. Was it Pensacola? Somewhere around here. No, Milton, Florida. And he decided to take a running leap out of the window. It was not on the first floor. And before he died, he said he wanted to be buried standing up. And supposedly they buried him out on the lake over there somewhere, standing up. I have yet to find out where that place is. How cool would that be? Anyway, there's tons of stories from around. And those are just a few. And I wish you a wonderful Friday ahead, wonderful weekend ahead, and over and out. And what are some of your stories too? Over and out.